Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So, will the Senate vote to stop Trump's planned war against Venezuela next week? If not, could that actually end up dropping Trump right in it with his own anti-war MAGA supporters? Trump came to power a second time, promising an end to foreign war entanglements. So far, he has threatened to invade numerous countries, actually carried out a bombing raid on Iran, is now poised to order a ground invasion of Venezuela. I mean, he's ordering oil tankers seized. He's also notably been on the side of the invader in conflicts which the USA is not directly involved in. It could just be argued that Trump is doing the opposite of what he promised. Again, even some Republicans, I emphasize some, in the Senate are uncomfortable with Trump's attacks on shipping in the Caribbean, especially given that the operations have not just sought to stop the shipping, but to kill all on board extrajudicially. The term war crimes is being bandied about, even within Trump's party. Pete Hegseth is attracting a lot of criticism right now, even from his own side. But I may talk more about that cock-up merchant in another video this week. For now, the threat is that Trump launches a war against a country which poses no obvious threat to the United States or even its foreign interests. Trump has decided he doesn't like Maduro. Which is unusual. He tends to get on really well with authoritarian dickheads. I mean, Maduro suppresses political opposition, silences dissent, even steals elections. With similar leaders around the world, Trump is usually meeting with them to take notes. But of course, Maduro is left-wing and aligned with Cuba, so despite being otherwise no different to the likes of Putin, Orban, Bolsonaro in approach and character, that's enough for Trump to despise him, it seems. There are also Republican hawks who would not mind seeing forced regime change in Venezuela at all. So there's also a sense of Trump giving these more traditional oil-loving Republicans something they want. Venezuela has a lot of oil. But others are less keen on getting bogged down in another needless foreign war, especially when it comes with the sort of war crimes many American voters are not going to approve of. So the Senate looked like actually doing something to stop Trump's rampant insanity at last, maybe. Though we will have to wait just to see how serious they are. One Senator, Tim Kaine, had this to say: "We're 100 days into a military action that has killed almost 90 people, forced the retirement of the Southcom commander, led to one of our critical allies, the UK, not sharing intel with us, and we haven't even had a public hearing on this yet." Kaine and others, including Republican Rand Paul, are hoping to force a vote which would prevent any military action against Venezuela itself that isn't authorised by Congress. But it will require more Republicans to back it. They have been broadly supportive of the naval engagements, but it is a ground invasion is potentially a step too far for them. There seem to be enough Republican senators opposed to a ground invasion to vote against giving Trump the authority to start this war proper. But it's one thing for them to say they don't agree with the ground invasion. It is another to vote against Trump, to put their money where their mouths are. So far, Republicans have excused the naval operations on the basis that it's saving American lives from drugs. However, not only is that argument thin in itself, but most drug deaths in America are not the result of narcotics from South America. But those same Republicans do not believe a ground invasion would be legal. In fact, it was reported that they were told by Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth that there was no legal argument to make a direct strike at Venezuela itself, much less land troops there. They claim to be engaged with drug runners, not the Venezuelan state. This is what they appear to have told Republicans in Congress anyway. Now, if they are now arguing something has changed, certainly the president is, they should be informing Congress. It's one thing for a government to manage covert operations in the interests of national security. It's another to prepare for a war against another country without having a chat about it with lawmakers or the public. But Trump doesn't just need to be mindful of Congress. There's his MAGA base as well. From their point of view, the second Iraq war was supposed to be about weapons of mass destruction. Turned out Iraq didn't have any, right? These people, and many others besides, got the impression it was all about oil. It cost a fortune in dollars and lives, including American lives, and the premise of the war was proven to be false. Then Afghanistan. They were told it was a quick seek and destroy mission against Al-Qaeda, but then it turned into a long-term military operation to maintain stability in the country. Trump ended that operation to the cost of ordinary Afghans, but the MAGA faithful have no sympathy there. As far as they're concerned, they don't want the US military to be engaged anywhere in the world other than their own cities for some reason, unless it is both justified as necessary for the defence of the USA and ends almost as quickly as it begins. So Trump sort of got away with the Iran bombing run because it was like one night and people going, oh, I don't want that. Right, it's over now. The war which Trump is proposing against Venezuela is another second Iraq war, isn't it? It's been sold as a battle against drugs when it's a battle to seize oil. But it's also worth considering if Trump is getting the right advice here. He surely knows that a protracted war against Venezuela will cost him politically. Is he being told that the operation can be completed quickly with no loss of American life? Is Trump about to do what Putin did in 2022, launch a shock and awe invasion with the expectation that the government would flee into exile, allowing him to install his own preferred government to rule as they would like? If so, what happens if Maduro doesn't flee? What happens if the war drags on? What if it's still going on as the midterms are taking place next year? Trump campaigned to keep America out of foreign wars. Now, MAGA voters might understand having to engage if the USA itself was attacked. They may also forgive a very quick operation, like, as I say, they seem to have done with the Iran bombing run. But what about starting a war with a country that isn't threatening you, that drags on for months? And what will Trump do to shorten the war if it doesn't go according to plan? Is he going to bomb towns and cities? What are voters going to think of that? Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is already accused of war crimes for striking at a disabled boat just because it had people left alive clinging to the wreckage. What if Trump orders the bombing of civilian sites, no doubt arguing they contain drug labs or distribution centres or something? Is Trump being sold on a 3-day special operation that would force regime change without breaching his America First promise? What if it doesn't work? It's not easy to have an exit strategy for something like this. It may well be that the best outcome for Trump is that Congress blocks the invasion in the first place, because recent history is replete with world leaders being told that a military operation against a weaker foe will be easy, tidy, and above all, quick. The reality has mostly been anything but. Mind you, if Congress does fail to stop Trump next week, I wonder if there's an outcome where Maduro and Trump take each other out. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel for more content. Click the bell notification icon so you know when new videos are coming out. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.